Here we are again today. In my previous videos, I've been talking to you about the concept of an ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning. Now, my goal goes beyond just ERP. I am trying to explain the concept, which is the application, the database management system, and then the database itself. For me, this is really the way humanity is designed. My goal is to be able to show you how you input data into the database and then how you pull this data and pass them through certain functions and procedures to be able to create information that will be used in making decisions. That is my goal. And I actually see this in our daily life, in our activities, not just ERP alone. For example, you started working in a company. Maybe you worked in the company for 5 years, for 10 years, for 35 years, especially for those that are working with the government. Now, at that point in which you are working with the government or you are working with the company, you are inputting data. When you say, I am retired, what that simply means is that the data that I've input, now it is time for me to pull this data and create information that the people are going to use in making decisions. That is basically what I see. But ERP has actually helped me to understand this concept, and that is why I'm using it to push my point across. So today I'm going to continue the line of ERP. My channel is Religion, Science, and Technology. I believe that religion is the input, science is the process, and technology is the output. I've actually done some videos about religion, and I'm doing this one about technology. I've skipped the part of science because for me, I believe that is where the functions and the procedures are, meaning the program that you are going to use to convert those data into information for meaningful usage. That is why I skip it. So I'm going to come back to it because that is where I'm going to show you the formulas. I'm going to show you the functions. I'm going to show you the procedures that you will use in collating this data into information. So today I will continue with the concept of ERP using item master. That is the items that the company is going to use. For example, A4 paper. Where do they come from? How do they get into the company? And how is it being used? In my last video, I talked to you about the part of supply chain, and I actually show you the flow up to finance. Today, I'm going to talk about item. The items that the company use are divided into two. The items are stock items and non-stock items. But non-stock items can be further divided into asset and service item. So today we are going to be looking at the concept of how an item is created in the system and how you can now use this item in the company. But how does it flow to finance? Because at the end of the day, finance in the part of the application, because like I said, we have the application, we have the database management system, and we have the database. So each of these three also have their own part, which also play this same three role, like the application, the management system, and the database. So in the case of an application, you are looking at the company, the physical company. Now, this physical company has the operation and the finance. So how does an item that is actually coming from the part of operation, how does the cost of this item flow into finance? That is what we are going to be looking at today. So let's see. Now, every item, for example, A4 paper, every item belongs to a group. And then you can now map this group to your ledger account, probably through a department. So that is what I want to show you. So you have item. Now these items are divided into stock and non-stock. This one is further divided into asset and service. So this is what you have. Now, in an ERP concept, we have to map this item in such a way that when it flows into the store, there is the finance part. And when it is being taken out of the store, there is still the finance entry. Now, how does that work? Every item belongs to a group. These are different types of items: stock item and non-stock item. Now, the non-stock item classify into asset and service. In issuance from the store, This asset and service item are not purchased into the store. They are actually purchased to the location of use. So you can't use a requisition for this. While this one, stock item, is actually kept in the store, and then you use a requisition to take it out from the store. And that transaction will have financial impact. So right now we are going to be dealing with this stock item for now. We will not talk about this. After this, then we can now go into this. Now, how does a stock item at the point of issuance, how does it flow into finance? You have to classify these items into groups. Now, these groups are now mapped to your ledger account. So what you do is that you classify them into item groups. And then these groups are now mapped into ledger account like this. This is your ledger. Through department. So this is department. You have this here, and then going through this into the ledger account. So your ledger is like a container. Now, the debit and the credit is either going to flow into this, either debit depending on what account. Now, in the material issuance, when you are issuing out this material to any location, to a department, you are going to credit the stock account and debit an expense account. Assuming this expense account here is office supply. So this is office supply. You also have another ledger, which is the stock account ledger. At the point of issuing this item out to the department, say IT department, they want to use A4 paper. When they come to collect this A4 paper, the transaction that will be done will debit an expense account and it will credit the stock account. I told you in my previous video, when that item is being purchased, at the point of the costing, the stock account will be debited and the supplier account will be credited. I told you that in my previous video. Now, at the point of issuing out this item to the store, to a department, the stock account that was initially debited at the point of purchase will now be credited. That quantity of the paper that has been released or of the item that has been released, and then the expense account will be debited through that department. So at that point now, you can now run a report to say how much of this material did this department consume in a month. And you can actually now set a budget that next time, this department must not consume more than this quantity of A4 paper in a month. That is how you can check. So this is how the mapping is actually done in the system. Several ERP systems have different ways, but sincerely speaking, over the years of my training, I think this is a very good way of being able to monitor how stocks are going out, are coming in and going out of your store. Now, in the case of an asset, at the point of purchase, you pick the department in which that asset is going to go into. That is the difference between an asset and a stock item, or a non-stock item and a stock item. For a stock item, you purchase it and keep it in the store, and then issue it out to the department that wants to use it. But in the case of an asset, for example, if a company is considering a laptop as an asset, and maybe somebody in IT department has just been employed and the person needs a laptop, you just purchase it to the department that is going to use it. You don't purchase it to store. So you purchase it to the department that is going to use it. So you need to have that department created in the system. You purchase it directly to that department. So that mapping is also done. So at the point of the GRN costing, you are going to debit that asset account through that department, and then you are going to credit the supplier. So that is what happened in the case of an asset. While in the case of a service item, probably somebody comes to repair your AC. You can also classify that repair. You can also create it as a service, or maybe AMC, annual maintenance agreement. You can also classify them as an item and then make a purchase process for it in order to capture it into your system. That is the difference between non-stock item and stock item. So this is what I have to share with you today. If you're just joining my channel, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and don't forget to like and share the videos on other platforms. You can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Facebook page. The links are below. And information is a source of development. That was actually written by somebody very powerful in my own cycle and very important to my life. So fortunately, that write-up is explaining the story I'm telling. That is why I didn't bother to rub it off the board. And you'll be seeing more of it since I'm using this board, except I migrate to another board. So until then, see you in my next video.